evening by singing our theme song. So stand up with me. Stand up and let's sing, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Oh, drum roll. Hear you. With who? Oh, with you and me. But let's, you know what, can we stop? Can we stop? Let's stop. It doesn't sound like us. What is it? Music's off? We're off? What's off? Guys, we need the guys to come in on that. All right. Did we come in at the right time? Can we get Patrick's mic on?
7, thank you. Yes, you did.
What about the guys? The guys came in on time?
Yeah, from what I heard.
All right. I think it was the drum roll wasn't loud enough. So let's try it again.
Hey.
Lynn, come on, bigger drum roll. Get us excited, Lynn. Come on.
Big.
There we go. That's what we needed. Let's be as big as that drum roll.
1, and.
You see how important that drum roll is, Lynn? You can't hold back on us. We got to have the full drum roll. It makes all the difference in the world. Ashley Bendiksen, who's our guest speaker tonight, asked me how many parents we were going to have here tonight. We never know. And I said, you know, it could be 5, it could be 500. We never know. But the one thing I do know, we are grateful to every one of you who is here tonight. So students, would you please join me in expressing some gratitude to all of our parents and guests who are here tonight. Thank you for being here. Oh, Lynn even gave you a little drum roll. How's that? Thank you, Lynn. And, you know, gratitude for those of you who are looking for happiness in life, that maybe you're having some dark days. Studies show that gratitude, being aware of the simple things, ladies who are talking up there in the stands, I'm looking at you and giving you a chance to stop talking. The gratitude is the #1 way. When you look for the simple things in life to be grateful for, when you don't take the little things for granted, you become a happier person. The more you look for things to be grateful for, the more things you find to be grateful for. And so I want you to know that I feel like a lucky man, because when I have an opportunity to talk with you most of the time, it is to express gratitude. And when I mention the Hollywood Bowl, I am not kidding about the reports that I received about you at the Hollywood Bowl. I don't know of any other school that does what we do. I heard you had a great time. Was it a great time? Yes. Okay. The fact that we took over 900 people, it was over 900 people that we took to the Hollywood Bowl last Saturday night. And everybody got fed. Not one complaint, because the staff members were telling me about some of the audience members who were coming up to them and telling them about you and watching you. Not one complaint about you. Not from the staff, not from the audience. That is something to be proud of. That, to me, is waging peace. How do we live our theme? That's a way to live our theme, is to go out into a public venue like the Hollywood Bowl, where there are 18,000 people, and we were a good audience. We were good picnickers, I heard. I heard there was plenty of food, true. I heard that the leftover food went to the poor, true. I heard that, and you know, you may not have looked at it as a learning experience, but I think there was so much for us to learn from that experience. Certainly teamwork, organization, what was that? And leadership, which came mainly from the seniors. And so before we introduce Ashley, we're going to make some announcements about homecoming. And right after those announcements, I'm going to ask some of you, not the seniors, I'm going to ask 7th graders, 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders. I'd like to hear from at least one person from each class to come here, take the microphone from me, and to tell me one specific thing that you witnessed from our senior leadership this year, because a lot of our seniors gave up class time for all the organization. They worked with Mr. O on getting you ready so that we could go out and have a really successful experience, wage peace, hold the flag of our school up proud, and it's largely because of the leadership that we experienced. And so I want you, and if you can give me the name of a student or students, whoever your homeroom leaders are, and something that you were grateful for regarding their leadership that you want people to know about. So we're going to make some announcements so that you have a few minutes to think about that. Do not be shy when it comes to this, because this is an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to express gratitude. I can tell you that you may feel as though your words or what you noticed isn't worthy. However simple it is, and maybe it's as simple as, well, you know, our homeroom leaders, and you mentioned them by name, every time we met as a homeroom, they came in with smiles on their faces. That is specific, right? I want to hear specifics. Our homeroom leaders, they got to know the name of every one of us in our homeroom. That was nice to see. So I want you thinking about something that you want to lift the senior leadership. I think they deserve it. And we're going to give you a few minutes to think. After these announcements, we're coming back to hear from you. All right, Coach Archie, you said you were going to get them fired up. So come on out. I'll be honest with you. When they started to sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth," I thought I was at Bishop Montgomery. I honestly had to look at the name on the wall because it didn't sound like St. Genevieve. They sounded like Bishop Montgomery, didn't they? Didn't they?
We're playing Bishop Montgomery tomorrow night in football, so thank you, Mr. Horn, for that. Gio, do you have my theme music? Did you download it? Because we were fantastic at the Hollywood Bowl last week, and I saw all of our students on their feet when Boys to Men sang 24 Karat, huh? This is the theme music right here. Where's my dancers over here? Oh yeah! Nobody's excited. You guys got on your feet at the Hollywood Bowl. Okay, cut the music. I don't know, Mr. Horn. Bishop Montgomery, I don't know. Anyway, I hope you get excited because the two people that I'm going to announce and bring out here to the floor are going to talk to you about homecoming. Yes, you can clap. We clap for homecoming and not Bruno Mars. Okay, great. Anyway, we've got a lot of great activities for our freshman class who haven't been a part of homecoming before. It is one of the most spirited times at St. Genevieve. So make sure you get excited. Make sure you have a great time. I'm going to introduce to you Isabella and Sophia to get you excited about homecoming. Let's go!
Hi, everyone. Are we excited for homecoming? So today we wanted to announce the theme that I know you guys have all been waiting to hear, and we're also going to talk about what each of your teams are. So do you guys want to do a drum roll? Drum roll, please. The theme for this year's homecoming is Valiant Kingdom. The theme is Valiant Kingdom, meaning we're going to have different groups. So starting off with the freshmen are the Jesters. The freshmen also have 5th grade, 1st grade, and kindergarten in their group. So that's your team for homecoming this year. The sophomores, which are with 6th and 2nd grade, are the Wizards! The juniors are the Pirates! And they're with 7th and 3rd grade. And last, we have the seniors with 8th and 3rd grade. Drum roll, please. The Royals. We hope you are all excited and ready to participate in the exciting events that we have planned for homecoming. Make sure to dress up, show your school spirit, come to the football game, and get ready for homecoming.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Speaking of homecoming, why don't we just get in the mood by singing the song? We only sing it once a year at homecoming.
Yes.
Back home again.
Back home, please.
Remember it? Freshmen, some of the freshmen will know it, but the rest of us should know it. On your feet and let's sing some Back Home Again. It's been a whole year since we pulled this one out of the trunk.
1, 2, 1, and. In the San Fernando Valley, as we gather here this evening, to my face brings a smile. There's a friend who's home calling, time to watch you come. Memory will last a long, long while. And seems like you've been here just yesterday. Friends gather all around. Passage of time and memory shows all the dreams we shared together. I see tears are on your cheeks. It's the light in those eyes that
Okay, here's the chorus. Let's go.
Hey, it's good to hear. Sometimes it's so slow, feels like a long lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back. Okay, verse 3. There's all the news to tell you. See how you spent your time. Tell me what's the latest phrase that Valiants say. Since Mr. Van is smiling, some things never change. Their words were here just yesterday. Next verse! All the time that I can spend, old friends hang around. Feel the spirit makes me warm inside. It's all the hugs I've been for, the love that lights my way, the happiness that I deserve. Hey! All right, Frida with the solo. Here we go, next verse. 1, 2, and it's the sweetest thing I know of, to spend the time with you. Though I may be far, our heart will never roam. Like a fire softly burning each day. Hey! One more time, hey!
And let's hear it for Fino for making that guitar sound like a banjo. Fino. All right, very quickly, I want to hear from some of you regarding the senior leadership. So please don't dawdle. I need some people to come down right now because our guest speaker's ready to go. And so I know you want to meet her, but I do want to hear from some of you. And I know that some of our seniors, you want to hear from some of them too, right? Aren't you curious to hear this? Come on down. Come on, juniors. Juniors. Come on, you guys. I want to hear from you. Junior leadership. Come on, juniors. Sophomores. There we go. All right, right, listen up. Let's listen up. Listen. You're ready to be specific? Listen up. You talk right into the microphone. Put it close.
Here we go.
Hi guys, my name's Mariam, and my bad. One thing I realized about my senior leaders, Mark and Christina, I think. Sorry if I got your names wrong. Yeah. So they were like really nice, and they like my bad. So they were like helping everyone out, even though they were busy like and stuff. They were like running all around and make sure everyone was there, and like, you know, they're just there for everyone.
Thank you.
My name's D'Angelo, and something that my senior group leaders did, and their names was Isabella and Gabriel, and they made sure that we were always next to them. We were always making sure we were okay, and they designed our group really well with all the food and really yummy food. Yeah.
My name is Raphael, and I really liked what my senior leaders did, AJ, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I forgot the girl's name. Nope. And I really liked what they did with the food and how they were super polite and they were being really good senior leaders. And yeah.
My name's Aiden. My senior leaders were Janet and Ethan. They were really welcoming, and they were really helpful, and they were really nice.
My name is Arthur. My homeroom leaders were Lee and Mario. I really liked them because like Lee made sure we were all like having fun and we were all safe, and Mario like kept the energy going and made sure we were all like having fun and stuff.
Hello, my name is Arlan, and my homeroom leaders were Sophia and Leo. The reason I liked them so much was because they were so full of energy, and they bought me food.
My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank my senior leaders, Donovan and Chloe. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with names. I'm sorry, but I love how they always put a smile on their face and our faces every single time they walk into our homeroom and make the time that they have there amazing and fun.
And I want to express my gratitude to all of you, because I can tell you, the seniors worked hard on this. And the fact that it makes me a little sad, and I'm going to be honest with you, it makes me a little sad that we didn't have hordes of people jumping down here to say thank you. You were given an opportunity to say thank you after hearing that gratitude is what can change your life. And so I have great gratitude, because I know this isn't easy to do. And I appreciate the fact that each one of you came down here to lift these senior spirits. So let's thank all of them for representing us well. You can go back to your seats. Lighthouse, and then we're going to meet Ashley. We're ready to meet Ashley Bendiksen, but we're going to sing Lighthouse first. Let's stand up, Valiants. Now this one we know for sure.
Yep.
Let's make this the best so far. And if you want to dance, if you feel so compelled.
And my Lord has suggested
America. Where do you live? Where did you come from? Where? Rhode Island. I don't think we've ever had a guest from Rhode Island before. All the way from Rhode Island, and I'm going to tell you something really, I think, very special about her. Today's her birthday, and who did she choose to celebrate her birthday with? The Valiants. And yes, I know you're going to want to sing happy. We'll sing happy birthday to you after we hear your message. Ladies and gentlemen, Valiants, let's please welcome all the way from Rhode Island, Ashley Bendiksen.
Oh my gosh. Is this the coolest high school in America? Or the coolest school in America? I am overwhelmed listening to all of you. Honestly, I need this kind of hype before every speech I give. You all are amazing, and I have just fully enjoyed sitting here and taking in all of your school pride and your energy and your love. And I also learned something really important. If the mood starts to die down, I'm either gonna say the word food or homecoming, and I know y'all will go nuts, okay? All right. Well, speaking of homecoming, let's set the scene. Picture this. It's a high school dance. The music is blasting, the gym has been fully converted, and I am busting out all my very best dance moves, making all the kids jealous. I'm kidding. I was hiding in a corner. I was 14 years old. This is my first high school dance, and I was mildly terrified. But I remember being hopeful and excited that maybe someone might ask me to dance. But, but this was a long shot. Because you see, this wasn't my first school dance. I came from a middle school where we had dances every year, and all of those dances consisted of me standing on the bleachers from start to finish. No one ever noticed me, but high school felt different. I felt different, I looked a little different, and so I was optimistic about it. And finally, it happened. I was hanging out on the side with my best friend when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this one boy looked right in my direction. Guys, y'all gotta relax. Don't get too excited yet. Oh, I know. Now, I had seen him around school. I knew who he was. I went to a kind of small school, similar to this, and, I thought he was super cute. He was popular. He played sports, and I could not believe that out of all of the students here at this dance, he had just wanted to dance with me. And so he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to dance the next slow song?" Now, I, of course, freaked out. I said yes. I had no idea what I was doing, so naturally, I grabbed my best friend by the hand, pulled her into the bathroom, because we needed to consult, right? Where do I put my hands? I have no idea what to do. But like any good best friend, she gave me a pep talk, and then she nudged me out of the bathroom, and I didn't want to leave. But finally, just as I stepped back into the gym, the DJ hit play, and a slow song started, and just as that boy promised, he came over, grabbed me by the hand, and brought me out into the middle of the dance floor. And I couldn't believe that this was happening. This was something that I always hoped would happen, but see, I was the kid who, for as long as I could remember, kind of went unnoticed in school. I was the kid who couldn't wait till the slow songs ended because I was almost embarrassed that I had to wait it out on the sidelines. But now I was part of this little school community, and it felt exciting, right? I felt like I belonged, but also I felt special because, like I said, he could have asked anyone to dance, and he asked me. And as the dance went on, a few more slow songs later, every time a new slow song started, he would come and grab my hand and bring me back out onto the dance floor. I was thrilled. And by the end of it, he asked me for my phone number. You're all making me look great as a speaker. He asked me for my phone number. I, of course, said yes. And soon enough, he would become my very first boyfriend and also the first boy to ever say that he loved me. And he turned into a complete jerk. Raise your hand if you've ever known someone who's been in a bad relationship. Okay. Hands down. Silence. Thank you. I think it's pretty fair to say, and you just showed me, that we all know someone who has been in a bad relationship. And you could probably agree with me when I say that in teenage life, this can also be a really big issue, where relationship confusion and drama can take up a lot of our energy, attention, and even distract us from the things that matter to us in life. And today, that's why I'm so glad that we're here to talk about this. Because right now, we're about to discuss one of the biggest issues impacting teenagers, and that is relationships. Yet very few people ever talk about this. Just think for a second. Where have you learned about relationships? We typically don't have classes in school. So maybe some of you are thinking, well, my parents have had some talks with me. Or maybe you've kind of just seen your parents or guardians as role models. Or you're like me and you're like, yeah, no, I do not talk to my parents about those things. Well, the rest of us usually learn about relationships from things like pop culture. We might see couples on movies, TV shows, reality TV, YouTubers, TikTok videos, the news. And the problem with this is that a lot of the relationships that we see online, in the media, in the movies, don't actually show us what's healthy. In fact, a lot of the couples that we see, there's a lot of toxic and unhealthy behaviors that we now start to normalize. So that's why it's so important that today we talk about this issue. Because you see, here's the truth. My boyfriend didn't just turn into a jerk. He became abusive. And here's the thing. This is not a story that's unique to me. Now, some of you in this room may have heard these words before, abuse or even dating violence, but what does that actually mean? This is actually super, super common. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about relationships and what to do when the relationships in your life are impacting things like your self-esteem, your confidence, your academic focus, and just how you feel about yourself. And I want to make this really clear. Even though we're going to talk pretty heavily about dating relationships, because that is a part of life, both now and in the future, I want to make it clear that everything we discuss today also applies to all of the relationships in your life. This can also be your best friend, or your close friend circle, or the people that you spend the most time with. Because as you all said, as you all agreed, we know that this can be a source of a lot of pain and drama and stress. So, can I get my slides up on the screen when you get a chance? Thanks. All right. Yes, I am Ashley Bendiksen. That is me. All right, so everybody bear with me. I know the energy's high, but let's just all take a collective deep breath. And let's breathe out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, this is not on. Okay. So when I was in high school, like I said, I was 14 years old when this first started. Now, let me just give you a little context and background. That's me. And yes, the photo you see on the bottom is my first ever selfie, taken on a Kodak disposable camera, not a cell phone. But when I came home from that dance, I was on a cloud. I was so happy. Now, my parents did not allow me to date. I was only 14 years old. But the very next day, when that boy called my parents' house, they gave me a pretty perplexed look. They didn't know why this boy was calling. So I kind of nervously explained to my parents that I had met him at the dance, and he asked for my number, and I didn't know what to say. And to my surprise, my parents were totally cool about it. I was so shocked. My parents used to be so strict, but they said that was fine. He could call the house, and I could see him at school. And I was thrilled by this. Like, this was a sign that high school was awesome, right? These were all these new and expanded things that I was allowed to do that I could never do before. And so every day, I would look forward to him calling the house, and I'd take the phone into my room, and we would just talk for hours, and then I'd see him at school every day, and everything was going so great until everything changed. And it all started when one day we were on the phone, and I was smiling from ear to ear, right, absolutely thrilled, when he said to me, "I really want to see you." And I thought, that sounds really nice to hear. But then he said, "Well, lie to your parents, sneak out, come see me." Now, I was a good kid. I did not like that. And so I said to him, "You know I'm not allowed." But then he brought it up again and again and again, where he would say things like, "Well, how can you be my girlfriend if I can't even see you? Or why are you acting like such a baby? It's not a big deal. Just say you're hanging out with a friend." And this was one of those situations where he just kept bringing it up over and over and over again, right? He was just nagging the life out of me with this question, to the point where eventually I caved. Because one, I kind of felt like I just had to say yes, right? You know when someone does that. And then two, I was afraid that this boy that I liked was going to break up with me, that he might date someone who is allowed to go out and have real dates. And so despite not wanting to, I hated lying to my parents. I agreed to go on a secret date with him. And it was on this date that truly everything took a turn for the worst. Because on this date, he changed even more. There were things that he said to me, things that he did, and expectations that he had on that first date that made me super, super uncomfortable. And not only had he changed on that date, but this was the beginning of many more of these secret dates where he would convince me to lie to my parents, and on these dates, I kept going home feeling not great about what had happened. But then he started to change at school, too. He started to make little jokes about me. We'd be sitting having lunch like we always did when he'd make a comment about me, or make fun of what I was wearing, or make comments about my body, my looks. And when I would get upset, and when I would try to communicate this to him, he'd say, "Lighten up, it's just a joke." And not only that, something else he did was he started telling stories to his friends, maybe to feel cool, just to have something to say. But this started turning into all these little rumors that quickly spread to the other kids at school, and suddenly now I was also experiencing bullying. And I didn't know why this was happening. My life went from normal, healthy, happy, loving school to kind of waking up one day and wondering why everything felt like it was falling apart. Everything that was going on between my boyfriend's behaviors and the bullying at school made me feel awful, to the point where I actually started to question everything about myself. Now, growing up, I was always outgoing, bubbly, quirky, silly, confident. I never questioned anything. But suddenly now, I was questioning whether I was good enough, whether I was smart enough, pretty enough, cool enough, funny enough, skinny enough, because I had all these negative words and behaviors being directed at me. I'm going to ask you for a second just to raise your hand if you've ever had someone in your life who's caused you to feel not good enough. And keep them up. Now, while your hands are up, do me a favor and just look around. Hands down. You just learned something huge. You just learned that you are not alone. You see, when I was going through this, that was maybe the biggest barrier that I faced, is that despite all of this negativity and stuff happening in my life, I really believed I was alone in this. I used to walk into high school and I used to look around and it seemed like everybody else was doing fine. These kids over here had a ton of friends. That girl right there wasn't bullied. This couple seemed happy. I thought it was just me. And what that meant is that I never told anyone. I didn't ask for help. I didn't talk to an adult. And as you might guess, when you don't talk to someone and get help, often things only get worse. And so, like most teenagers who haven't learned how to deal with these things or talk to a trusted adult, I started to turn to pretty much every unhealthy coping tool that you can imagine. I had never struggled with my mental health, but because this kept going on and I was keeping it to myself, suddenly now I struggled with anxiety. I struggled with depression. I had a lot of negative thoughts about myself. I fought with my parents all the time. I couldn't focus on school. Suddenly I went from having straight A's to almost failing all of my classes. I had disordered eating habits. I was self-harming. I was turning to substances. My life just began to fall apart. And not only did I feel alone, I think even more than that is that I felt confused. Because here I had this relationship where some days my boyfriend seemed nice again. It seemed like the boy that I met on the dance floor and everything was back to normal, but then he could so quickly be the source of a lot of my pain. And maybe that's something you can relate to. Maybe there's someone in your life where 1 minute they're awesome and then they just change and bring you down. And I felt confused because I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't know that what I was experiencing was this thing called abuse because I was just a teenager. I'd never heard of it. That's something that happens to adults or other people, not me. So let's take a moment to just kind of talk about that for a second. So here's the thing about relationships, and if you've ever been confused about one in your life, this is helpful. Every single relationship falls on a spectrum. Okay? We have healthy relationships in our life. Then we have some unhealthy ones. Maybe we'd call these a little bit toxic or just not good for us. And then we have ones that kind of become a little bit abusive. And you're going to get to learn about exactly what that means today. But when I say abusive, most people think of physical harm, but there's so much more to it. Now, I was over here on the abusive side, but I didn't know that yet. So what is it that we can do? My guess is that most of you have yet to understand what abuse is. And even though I didn't know myself, there were things that I could have done. I could have paid attention to the fact that I was struggling. If you want to build healthy relationships in your life, this is like your first task on that quest, on that journey, okay? And that is to pay attention to what I call, let's go, internal red flags. We are all born with this inner, alarm or danger detector when we know something doesn't feel right. Sometimes we call it our intuition, sometimes we call it our gut, but we kind of know when something feels off. And I can pinpoint moments where things felt off in my relationship, but I ignored them. And that's something that a lot of us do. Maybe someone does something mean or rude, but then we think, oh, but they're my friend, or oh, they have some trust issues, or whatever it is. So each and every single one of us needs to look at our relationship and pay a lot of attention when these internal red flags pop up. And here are some of the most common ones when it comes to relationships with other people. If you have someone in your life that makes you just simply feel bad about yourself, that's an internal warning sign. If someone makes you feel like you've changed negatively since spending time with them, since they've come into your life, if someone makes you feel nervous or afraid, controlled, like you can't say no to them, or like you have to keep a secret in some way, this is your first thing that you have to pay close attention to. And the task from there is to then quickly and right away ask someone for advice and support, or just get rid of that person in your life. But usually we need a little support and guidance on how to do that. This is what I wish I would have done back when this all started happening. I wish after that very first date, I would have paid attention and then asked someone for advice and help. But I didn't. And that's why things continue to get worse. So, this is the first thing to remember. Task 1 in building healthy relationships in your life is to pay attention when these things are happening. And when they are, take them seriously and ask for help. Now, thankfully, I think I need to stand closer. There we go. Now, thankfully, the relationship that I was in did end. But that doesn't mean that my life got easier. When someone hurts us, when someone hurts our self-esteem and our confidence, that doesn't just come back because they're no longer in the picture. But I remember when I was in high school, I had one thing that kind of gave me this little sliver of hope. I thought, if I can just survive the next few years, then I will get out of here and start over. Maybe I can look at this experience, learn from it, and never let it happen again. And that's exactly what I did. Graduation day came. I was with my best friend. We were celebrating. I could not wait to run out of that building, and I couldn't have done so fast enough. Then, fast forward, and I am off to college. I am out, woohoo! I am in my car, I am driving, I've got the windows down, the wind's blowing my hair, life is good. I'm finally out of that horrible chapter that high school had become. And when I went to college, my first year was awesome. Finally, I felt like myself again. I felt like I was standing tall again. I got so used to feeling small in high school, and now I was standing tall again. I loved my classes. I made all new friends. I was focusing on me, and everything was going great. Then, after my first year of college, I came home for my first summer break, and that was when I met the most amazing person. When I met this person, they had every quality that I wanted in a partner. I gave it a little time. He was healthy, supportive, loving, affectionate, didn't make me feel bad about myself. And this was proof to me that finally I was through that chapter. No red flags, no warning signs. What could go wrong? I'm asking you. Everything could go wrong. If you're sitting there listening, you're probably saying, well, isn't that how the first relationship started? Exactly. The first relationship started out great too. This is a little tricky thing about relationships. Usually when we meet people, they are amazing in the beginning. In fact, there's actually a term for this. Okay. Gotta do some dance moves. Oh, we went way ahead. There's a term for this. No, it's not Patrick Star. It is love bombing. Love bombing is what happens when you first meet someone and they're over the top amazing. Maybe they want a relationship really, really quickly. Maybe they're already posting you on their social media and they want to go official. Maybe they're showing up and showering you with affection and kind words, and they make you feel like this is your person. But the problem with this is that suddenly when this person changes, A few months later, well, now it feels like such a departure from the person we met that many people think, maybe I did something wrong. It must be me, because that's not the person that I fell head over heels for. And so love bombing is one of those tricky things, which is why when you're first dating, it's really important to just take your time to get to know someone so that you know who you're dating, not just the person that they paint a picture of themselves to be in the beginning. So that's what was happening with me yet again, because I didn't know that was part of abusive relationships. I thought I was doing it right this time, looking for healthy qualities. However, very quickly in that relationship, here's some of the things that I noticed about him. He definitely had some insecurities, as we all do, right? I accepted that. He also had some trust issues. He said they came from his past, and I wanted to understand that too. But what that meant, having insecurities and trust issues, is that he was very uncomfortable with a lot of things. He didn't like me spending time with my friends if it didn't involve him. That made him very uncomfortable. He didn't really like it if I had hobbies or extracurriculars because he didn't like not knowing where I was. And he also really did not like the idea that I was going to be going back to college, which was 2 hours away from him. Now, I didn't know what to do. I tried to understand, I tried to communicate with him, but nothing I said made him feel satisfied or confident or like he could just trust the relationship. But move-in day came, so I packed up my bags, got in my car, drove out to college, and this boyfriend actually followed me to school. And when he followed me to school, he was really upset. And he tried to make me feel guilty. He said things like, "You don't care about me. How could you care about me if you just packed up your bags and left?" And I didn't know what to say to someone who has those types of feelings. I tried to calm him down. I tried to tell him, "You have nothing to worry about." But he just was one of those people that the trust issues and the insecurities took over. And as crazy as this is going to sound, he came to my college campus, and he did not leave. He ended up staying there for the entire school year, finding ways to just be around all the time. And what this meant is that my partner was now with me 24/7. He would walk me to and from class, and he acted like that was sweet and affectionate, but I kind of felt like I had to be walked to class by him. He would get upset if I said, "No, I'll walk on my own." He would be watching me as I was studying, asking how much longer I would be. He wanted me to finish up so we could just hang out. And this started to feel exhausting. And without realizing it, it's like high school came right back into my life. I was anxious again. I was stressed. I was depressed from time to time. And just like high school, I turned to all of the same unhealthy coping tools to deal with these negative feelings that I had. Some days he was good and fun, and again, felt like that person that I first met that summer. But other days he was just possessive and jealous and controlling, and soon my whole life felt like it was controlled by him. And this relationship became so damaging that it totally turned my entire life upside down. I still didn't ask for help. I still didn't think this was abuse because, he didn't put his hands on me. But slowly and surely, he just ruined everything else. After that year finished up where he was on my college campus, he caused a lot of issues between me and my family. My family actually turned their backs on me and kicked me out. It was the start of a summer, and he and I became homeless. We lived out of my car for an entire 3 months, and it was a really low point in my life. And while living in the car, he slowly drained my bank accounts. And just when it was time to go back to school at the end of summer, well, he crashed my car and knew that I wouldn't be able to go back to school. And he also knew that now the only thing I had left was him. I didn't have friends anymore. I didn't have family. I didn't have resources. And this was a rock bottom. And so if you're tracking, I'm about 19 years old, just shy of 19, and I dropped out of college because I had no way of getting back there. My family had disconnected from me, and I had no more car to get there, and I had no money of my own. And this felt like such a low point in my life. But all this time, I would say to myself, it's not abuse. He just has some issues. We're working on it. It was just a bad day. Or this is what love is, for better or for worse, and someday we're going to live happily ever after. But what I should have done was asked for help. I should have paid attention and known that what I was experiencing and accepting by this person was not okay. And this relationship only ended because, unfortunately, he did start to become physically aggressive. I knew that that was bad, and so I tried to break up with him. But unfortunately, when you try to break up with someone who's really volatile and struggles to control these big emotions, you don't always know how they're going to respond. And unfortunately, when I tried to break up with him, I was pretty badly physically attacked. And the only way that I left was through the help of police and the court system. This rock bottom was the lowest of lows. And I want to bring us to this point in my story because even though it was such a low moment, this marked a turning point. Because I had been physically hurt, I started to learn about abuse in the days and weeks that followed. And as I was learning, what I learned is that all of it had been abuse. Dating back to that first boyfriend in high school, I could see that there were all these abusive behaviors, but I had no idea. It blew my mind. My life was in bullet points, in books, and on PowerPoints, like the one I'm about to share with you now. And this was eye-opening. And when I left the courthouse, after he was charged, I stood outside. And this was the moment that changed my life. I took a deep breath, I looked to my right, and I realized that I was entirely alone. And this was the first time in almost 2 years that the boy that was now arrested and behind bars hadn't been here dictating every aspect of my life. He had become someone that controlled so much of my life that literally every thought and decision and action I took, I thought how it would affect him first. And suddenly, he wasn't there. And it might sound ridiculous, but I just felt free. It's like I just stood a little bit taller for a second because I realized he wasn't here to choose my life for me anymore. And as I stood outside of that courthouse, I thought about everything I threw away. My life savings, my family, my friends, my college education, everything had crumbled, but even worse, myself. And I was done. And I made a decision that day to change my life. And that decision doesn't just magically fix everything. But what followed was me learning about relationships, learning about abuse, focusing on the relationship with myself, and my life changed dramatically overnight. Because as I was getting rid of unhealthy people and attracting healthy relationships with myself and with others, my whole life improved. I was happy. I was confident. I had people around me that were supportive, and I began getting involved and telling my story. And this whole after story is amazing, and it's a story that I never would have believed would have been possible for me when I was a teenager. Because when I was a teenager, I didn't have much self-worth. I was looking for it in other people. But now I found it in myself, and this changed everything. So when I say that I learned about abuse, what was I learning? What exactly is this? We talked about task 1, recognizing those internal red flags. But now, how do we recognize red flags in our relationships, or maybe even your friends' relationships? Let's talk about this for a second. Red flags versus green flags. Now, we're talking a lot about abuse, and I know that you've all heard these terms. Sometimes it's called dating violence, sometimes it's relationship abuse or breakup abuse, or even domestic violence. And I want to make this clear. Yes, I am a woman who is in a relationship with a man, but that is not the only people that are affected. This is not the typical story. In fact, all people can experience abuse. We have celebrities that come out that paint a really good picture of individuals from all different walks of life and backgrounds. It does not matter your gender, how you identify, what type of relationship you're in. It also doesn't matter what your economic background is, what your religious beliefs are, your race. It does not matter. These issues impact everyone. And despite what we might believe, this statistic might startle you. Abuse impacts teens and young adults at higher rates than any other group of people, more than adults. In fact, in the US, 1 in 3 teens, so we're talking approximately 33% of an entire school, will experience some form of abuse by a dating partner, even if that's just verbal abuse, someone who says mean things to you. That's a big number. That actually outnumbers bullying. Bullying impacts 1 in 5 students. This is like a deeper layer of bullying where the bullies are the people that are supposed to care the most about you. And when we talk about abuse, like I said, I thought that physical abuse was the obvious red flag, but there's so many different kinds. And when it comes to teens, the most common types of abuse are verbal, emotional, and psychological. Let's break down what these look like. I'm going to give you 4 of the most common red flags. And as you listen to these, think about whether you've seen them either in your relationships or maybe your friends. So the first one is isolation. Isolation is when the person that you're in a relationship with wants you to spend all of your time with them, and they expect it. They're upset if you don't spend your free time with them. They might demand 24/7 access to you. And often they will put down the people in your life, the things in your life, your hobbies, your interests, your extracurriculars, because people who struggle with some abusive behaviors, they see those things as threats. That's threats to the relationship. So maybe as a friend, you've kind of noticed that someone in your circle, they're in a new relationship, but they don't really hang out anymore. Or they're always making excuses for why they're not available. So isolation is a big one that happens early on. Someone kind of just disappears a little bit. The second one, of course, is control. But when we talk about people who are controlling, this doesn't mean that you're in a relationship with someone who says, you're not allowed to do certain things. When we talk about control, it's subtle. They might kind of control who your friends are, what you wear, what you post on social media. They might demand that you share social media accounts. They might want to control by seeing what you're doing, who you're talking to. For example, they might demand your passwords, or say that now that we're dating, we should share our location at all times, because if you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you? But remember, trust does not require proof. Trust is at the heart of a healthy relationship. So these individuals kind of ignore your boundaries and the fact that you have a life and a self outside of them, but instead they want to control those things. The third big red flag is someone who's manipulative. And this, most of the time, is someone who uses words as weapons. So they might call you mean names. They might criticize you or belittle you, including kind of knowing what your insecurities are and using those against you. But they also play a lot of mind games, too. So maybe they make you feel guilty if they've done something wrong. If they make a mistake, they blame you for it. They don't take accountability or responsibility. And they almost start to make you feel like you're going crazy. You almost start to doubt your own sense of reality. Oh, it didn't pop up. And then our fourth big one is extreme mood swings and threats. Someone who's totally cool 1 minute, but then all of a sudden they're in a bad mood and you don't know why. They might accuse you of something, give you the cold shoulder. They might, suddenly go from happy to mad. And usually when they act this way, it's to an extreme. They're not just in a bad mood, they're mad. And it's an issue, and it's a big fight, and it's scary at times. And they might threaten to do things like post something online, or threaten to hurt someone, or even hurt themselves. And this is a huge red flag. Now, all of these combined, the isolation, the controlling behaviors, the manipulative behaviors, and these extreme mood swings, this is abuse. Notice that this person does not put their hands on their partner, but what they are doing is having power and control. And that's what defines an abusive relationship. One person does things that gives them power and control. And now that we've kind of gone through this list, it's no surprise why this kind of affects someone's mental health, or their confidence, or their sense of identity and independence, right? And this is not just my opinion, this is fact, that people who are in abusive relationships or unhealthy, toxic relationships struggle with their mental health, with eating disorders, with really negative thoughts. They struggle in school because when your social life is filled with this toxicity or these behaviors, it's really, really hard to focus on your well-being or where you want to get in life. So it's really important that we pay attention to this. Now, if anyone in the audience is listening to this and kind of recognizing, I think I do some of these things, this is not a place of judgment or shame. You are at an age where you're feeling big feelings for the first time. If you're in a relationship with someone, of course you're going to be afraid that they might meet someone else and not want to be with you anymore, or that they might be lying to you. But you can learn to manage those emotions without becoming controlling. We all have jealousy, we all have trust issues at times, but not all of us control. And so don't feel bad. This is the age where you can also talk to someone and say, I want to learn to be a healthier partner. Because I can tell you this, when my abusive ex attacked me and my life was in pieces, so was his. Nobody won in any of this. So we all want to learn to develop healthy qualities and establish healthy relationships no matter who you are in this picture. So with that, what are those green flags? What's a healthy relationship? I speak in schools all across the US, and it's actually really hard sometimes for us to come up with a list of what's healthy. So let's just quickly talk about a few. We know that healthy relationships are built on probably the stuff that your school talks about all the time. Love is about equality, respect, treating someone the way that you would want to be treated. Healthy relationships are built on trust, balance. You're allowed to have a balance between your relationship and the rest of your life. There's privacy, there's space, you have independence. And usually when there is an issue, there's accountability. Someone who can communicate and work on it, and they actually show you that they're taking steps to improve. So we need to remember that these qualities are the ones we want to look for. And if this is what we see, these become very quick green flags that this is a good sign that this person's good to have in our life. I love a good Venn diagram, and I kind of see it the way like this, that there's you, there's the other person you're in a relationship with, and you both have lives, you both have identities, and you share some stuff in the middle. But in no healthy relationship should these two circles just fully combine where you lose who you are or your goals. And even though this list is pretty extensive, I'm going to give you 2 words that you can kind of keep in your back pocket that will help you answer whether a relationship is healthy or not. And that's this. Do I feel safe? Do I feel supported? Now, when I say safe, I don't just mean physically safe. I mean physically and emotionally safe. That means that if you're upset, you can tell someone and they won't make you feel bad about it. You can express your emotions, you can communicate, you can be yourself and feel safe to be that. And when I say supported, I don't just mean supported when you're having a bad day. I mean that the people in your life should be your biggest cheerleaders. They support you to become the person you want to become. If you're really good at art and you want to join the art club, they're saying, yeah, you absolutely should. I'm so proud of you. Go do a great job in it. Not saying, well, oh, but that's going to take time away from us. So support is someone caring enough about you that they want to lift you up and they allow you to be you. That's why they liked you in the first place, as their partner, as their friend. So these two words will cover that whole list: the respect, the equality, the independence. Do I feel safe? Do I feel supported? And we need to ask ourselves this question on month 1, month 6, year 3. You talk to someone and get some help, okay? So we've got 3 things. Internal red flags, recognizing something doesn't feel good for us. That's the simplest start. And then we've got actual external things. And this is so important that all of us in this room, when we see this stuff, we say, that's kind of a red flag. That doesn't seem that healthy. Or maybe it's no big deal. Maybe you shouldn't be blowing up their phone. It's all good. We need to be bystanders and allies to start denormalizing these behaviors, because a lot of what I just shared is the norm, right? All right. So I'm going to take questions in a few minutes. Put that in your back pocket. I want to go back to where I left off in my story real quick. Because not only did my life change in huge, huge ways. I didn't know how I was going to put the pieces of my life back together. My life was broken. I was broken. But the one thing I knew I wanted to do was get involved. And so let me show you a little bit of what followed. The first thing I did was I looked up my local domestic violence agency, and I asked if I could just be a volunteer. Through this, I learned all about abuse, and I really wanted to raise awareness to give back and help others. And it was while volunteering that they asked me if I'd be willing to share my story. I ended up speaking for the first time, and it was a hugely empowering moment. People thanked me and came up and shared their stories, and I realized just how big this issue was. And I've now been speaking ever since. And as I was getting involved and raising awareness about abuse and identifying now as a survivor, I also saw the value of volunteering. So I volunteered. I was speaking at schools. I volunteered with more groups, because another thing I was gaining from volunteering was I was having positive role models and mentors and positive people in my life. So I got involved with a women's organization, and soon I was speaking at women's empowerment events. I even met a group of young women my age, and we formed our own nonprofit. Someone told me about a pageant where the prize was a year of service opportunities and scholarship money, which I needed to go back to school. And to my surprise, I won the pageant. I ended up making 120 appearances talking about dating violence awareness. My family was coming back into my life at this point. I was mending those relationships with them. And I ended up winning over $6,000 that I was used to go back to college. I also, well, thank you. My goodness. It gets better. I fell in love with policy. I fell in love with advocacy work. I went to Washington, D.C. to lobby for policy change there. I even helped to pass a brand new law in the state of Massachusetts by getting involved in policy work. And all of this finally taught me who I was. for so long, I didn't know who I was because I let everybody at school make those decisions for me. And I knew that I was ready to go back to college. And I decided to study the criminal justice system. And 7 years after I had dropped out, I finally graduated, but didn't just graduate. I graduated as valedictorian of my entire class, which means that I had the highest GPA. Thank you. And I don't share this because I'm trying to impress. I wasn't some genius all along, but this was possible because I surrounded myself with people that allowed me to study, who helped me out, who gave me space. When you have positive people in your life, your goals become possible because you're not distracted by the peer and the relationship drama. And now this is what I do. I speak full-time, I travel the country, I speak in schools, I train the police, and I train law enforcement, I train workplaces, I work with nonprofits. And I never imagined that this would be my career or my life coming out of such a dark place. But sometimes we are given these little gifts in life to help others, and I feel really grateful to be doing this today. I was in an award-winning documentary about abuse. I started my own website for other survivors to tell their stories, and I even have a company where I work with young people in a life coaching capacity. So all of this has become possible by focusing on my relationship with myself and with others. So I want to take a few moments now to just open it up to questions, because I know that this could be a whole year-long course. So if anyone has any questions, I would love to answer them. Just raise your hand.
We have about 5 to 6 minutes for questions, so if you have one, now's the time to ask. We've got Mr. Conroy right there with the microphone, Coach Rowe over there with the microphone, and I'm right here. So if there are any parents or guests who have a question, any seniors, now's the time. Right there.
Hi, I have a question over here.
Oh, let's all be quiet so I can make sure I hear the question.
What if you yourself were an abuser and you self-realized? How would you be able to communicate that with other people?
That is such a powerful question. You know, a huge part of healthy relationships is also making sure we work on ourselves. And if you recognize that you might be abusive right now, this is an amazing time in your life to talk to someone about it. And honestly, I would advise you to simply talk to a trusted specialist or an adult. So that might be a counselor here at the school, or you might look up a local therapist or a mental health center, because they will give you guidance on, one, what you can begin to start working on, and then two, how to actually tell the people in your life that you are working on these things. But first and foremost, if you know you've made some mistakes, just say, I'm sorry. Say, I recognize that what I do is unhealthy, and go from there and make sure that you're supporting yourself to build healthier relationship skills too. Great
Another question right here.
Do you mind if I ask, like, have you found like a healthy relationship?
Yeah, great question. So I have. The short answer is yes. I'm in a very, very healthy, committed, long-term relationship right now. However, I will just add that over the years, unhealthy people still showed up. Where somebody seemed great on a first date and then they changed, but now that I have the knowledge and the confidence in myself and know what I deserve, I was able to easily walk away from those people much more effectively. So it doesn't mean you're going to avoid unhealthy people, but you learn to deal with it and set boundaries and walk away.
We have a question over here. To your left.
This is kind of a short one, but how do I tell someone to stop letting, like, how do I tell my mom to stop letting my dad get back into our lives? Because he's living in our garage right now. And every time he comes into my room, there's like always something. He's always trying to start something. How do I tell my mom to just like kick him out fully?
I want to really thank you for sharing that. When it comes to, yeah. I want to thank you, and I also want to say that I'm sorry that you're going through that too. When these issues happen in our homes, among our parents, and in our families, it is one of the most painful things to witness, especially when you're the bystander that knows it's bad and you want to say the right things to help someone see clearly. It's really, really hard. My first piece of advice is to, one, make sure that you're taking care of you. If you can't change the dynamic, the one thing you can do is take care of how you feel about it. So talking to someone so that you can process your emotions. And then I think as a practical piece of advice, kind of just being really honest, instead of, maybe attacking the other person, saying, hey, I love you, I care about you, I'm concerned about you, and these behaviors aren't healthy. That can sometimes be eye-opening for someone who doesn't realize it. So I think maybe use this presentation today. Have a conversation. Say, some of the things that I saw, I feel like I recognize at home. But most importantly, take care of yourself in the process. So I'll be here if you want to chit-chat after. I can give you some more advice.
I have a question over here.
Hi, as a mom, how would I help a child who is in an abusive situation with another child? These are all teenagers, they're all kids.
Yeah, this is a really great question, and it's a tough situation to navigate. A lot of us teens, right? A lot of you teens might not feel comfortable talking to your parents about these issues. And as parents and as bystanders, sometimes we wish that there was like a magical phrase that we could say and they would just end the relationship. My advice is to first and foremost be really patient, because it might take your child a long time before they listen or hear it or even feel ready to leave. When you're a teenager, breaking up or walking away from a toxic friend is hard because you might lose an entire friend group. Or what if they're threatening to post things online, even if it's a rumor? So there's a lot of dynamics. So I think, being really honest and direct about your concerns, staying patient, staying present, making sure you don't say things that cause kind of a tax between you and your child. Hopefully, when they're ready, they will then know that they can turn to you. But, if you're really disapproving of the other person in the relationship and you attack them a lot, your child's going to feel like you're against them. So I think it's just patience, being honest, checking in, and hoping that the time will come. And, so that's my general advice, but I can offer something more specific after if you'd like.
We have another question to your left.
This is going to be our last question, but I do
Sure.
want to, Ashley will be here afterward if people
Yes.
want to talk to her.
Hi, I have a question. What happens if they're balanced, the red flags and the green flags? Do we give them the chance for a second chance?
Sorry, say that again. What if the red flags
What if the red flags and the green flags are balanced? What do you do?
are balanced? That's a really good question. My advice is that if there are any red flags, it's a warning sign for abuse. Because people are not bad every day. One day they can be totally respectful and they can communicate and they can take accountability and say that they're never going to do it ever again, but usually they do. And what the most important thing you can do is recognize when this is a pattern. So there's good days, not great days, bad days, then we're back to everything's great and they're healthy again. When that keeps repeating and there's still those abusive behaviors and they keep coming back up, it's a sign that they need some space and time for them to get help and work on those things, and it's really tough to do it while they're in a relationship with you. So any indication of red flags, we should pay attention to. Just because there's some healthy stuff in there doesn't mean it discounts the others. All right, raise your hand if you learned something today. Okay, a few of you. All right, thank you. Guys, it's been awesome. I'm gonna stick around. I will put my info up here. If you want to connect. Thank you.
Getting a standing O. Ashley, thank you so much. For whatever my opinion's worth, I think this was excellent. It's not easy to come into a gym, especially, with this many teenagers and tackle a tough subject. But you did so beautifully, and we'd like to reward you with a little happy birthday song, if that's all right with you. So I think we're all on our feet at this point. Seniors, Ashley, why don't you stand here? We're going to have our seniors come out, and we'll stand next to you so you're not here in the middle of the floor. It's just spread out around her. Let's form an arc, you know. All right, hold on now, hold on. Let's wait for everybody. All right, Lynn, I hope you learned your lesson. That drum roll is important to us. And so we'd like a big drum roll on this happy birthday. Ah, here we go. And here we go. Let's thank Ashley one more time. No, we do have a little more business to take care of. On Monday, there's a special event that's happening in Long Beach that you're probably not aware of. But the California Interscholastic Federation, CIF, is honoring our coach, Archie, for being a man of character. And I've known him a lot longer than you have, and I know you love him. I certainly do too, and I especially love everything that you bring to our school on a daily basis, because when it comes to character in athletics, at times it's hard to find what we're watching out there. And we have a daily example here through Coach Archie. And I'm just so proud that on Monday night, he'll be honored by the CIF. And so, Coach, we would like you to come to the center of the floor, and we'd like to sing an anointing prayer for you. And so, seniors, could you spread out a little bit more, a bigger circle, because we need to bring some people to the center to pray. Spread out a little more so that you can kind of put your arms around one another. You on this side of him, you on this side. Like we've not done this before. Now come on. Get in line here. Okay, we're already going. Not yet. We're still getting ourselves organized down here. Do the la-la-las. Ladies can do the la-las and the gentlemen. Are we ready now? Are we ready? There we go. us all with prayer in the Spirit? Let's hear what you've got to say about your partner in athletics.
Coach Archie, you're a true angel. You're an inspiration to so many. I thank you for the 10 years of mentorship that you've given me, day in and day out. For the love that you give to these students, it's unheard of. I've never seen it. The Lord is over you every day. You're inspiring. Asking the Lord Jesus Christ to continue to put his hands over you with blessing, love, and good health. It's in the heavenly name I pray to the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Lord Heaven, thank you for this wonderful man. His passion, love, and dedication to his players, team, and St. Jen's is truly inspirational. Thank you for blessing me with the friendship and his guidance. Lord, continue to have a pure heart and a kind soul, as he is a true man of character. Amen.
Dear God, I ask you to continue to bless Coach Archie as he guides our athletes to continue to prosper as players, but better yet, as disciples of God. I thank you for his presence in our lives and for his ability to show up for all the students. Thank you for giving Coach the ability to smile and laugh and continue to brighten our days every day.
Dear God, I thank you for the gift that is Marlon Archie. My heart is filled with gratitude and appreciation. Marlon, your impact on students' lives and the lives of so many players you have coached over the years is immeasurable. Your patience, wisdom, and kindness have helped countless students at our school and countless athletes. You've taught us the value of hard work, integrity, and compassion. Your legacy will live on through the countless lives you've touched and the ripple effect of your kindness and the flags on the wall. As we anoint you today, I want you to know how much you are loved and appreciated. On behalf of our entire school, I want to express our deepest appreciation for your dedication, your leadership, and for being a shining example of what it means to live and work with purpose and integrity, and your unwavering commitment to making our school, our courts, and our fields a better place. You certainly are well deserving of this award.
Dear God, thank you for bringing Coach Archie in my life. Not only has he helped me and supported me through every injury and tough time in my life, he's helped almost every one of us here. God, I ask you to continue to bless Coach Archie and support him just how he has supported us. Continue to guide him to many more achievements and successes. Coach Archie has guided my team and I through our faith and sisterhood, which I will cherish and remember forever. He's blessed so many lives by just being that happy spirit 24/7. We see God through you, Coach. So thank you for guiding us and supporting us to the right path, and may God bless you to continue to be the person you are today.
And Valiants, I ask you to extend your hands over Coach Archie to give a final blessing to him. And Lord God, you are a cornerstone in our lives, the cornerstone of your Son, Jesus Christ. And Lord God, we give thanks for a cornerstone to our community of Marlon Archie for over 26 years serving our community, Lord God, and helping us to pursue victory with honor. We ask you to bless him, Lord God, and continue to give him blessings on his family, his beautiful wife and children. And we know that his beautiful parents in heaven are smiling down with great pride on their son. And we ask you to bless him, and we ask that the love that he has shown us, that we may give it to you. We love you, Coach Archie, and ask your blessings. And we say this in Jesus Christ's name as we say amen. Amen.
Let's hear it for Coach Archie. Big event on Monday. Okay, before we wrap up with alma mater and hoorah, and you be careful, there's one more thing I want to do. You know, for parents who are here tonight, you're sending your children, you know, we are so much more than a school. And I think tonight's certainly proof of that. And the way we pray together, the way we celebrate together, it is second to none. And one of the things that I'm always so grateful for, you know, when I started out tonight talking about gratitude and I thanked the students, I forgot, and I shouldn't have. I forgot to thank the teachers and staff who give up so much to be here at St. Genevieve and do things like the Hollywood Bowl on a Saturday night. I mean, it's just incredible. And when I say other schools don't do that, other schools don't do that because they don't have the kind of staff that we have. And when I talk about our staff, one of the things that I say, and I mean it, is that some of the best people that I know, some of the best people that I know are teachers and staff at St. Genevieve, and how honored I feel to be able to say that. And there's one person in particular who, you know, stands in the background a lot and doesn't get a lot of accolades. Tomorrow's his birthday. And so I would like to call Coach Pat out here to the center of the room. Oh, come on, Lynn. Come on, Lynn. You can do better than that. Come on, Lynn. Big, big, big drum roll for this big character and spirit of a man, Coach Patrick. We love you, and we're going to sing happy birthday to you. We got Pete back there on the keyboard. Big drum roll. Let's hear it for Coach Pat.
Ready, everybody, sing. Happy.
What happened to the drum roll? Love you too. A great day tomorrow. Now get back there to the keyboard and play us some alma mater. What would we do without that guy? This place would be without music. All right, and seniors, don't you dare look up at that screen. If you don't know the words by now, you're not getting a diploma in May or June or whatever.
Oh, yesterday?
All right.
Thank you, Evan. Good job, everyone.
Coach Archie's leading the charge. Coach Archie's leading the charge. All right, everybody, if I can have your attention. Shh.